Let's take it slow, don't let it all go by. Let's take it slow, don't let it all go by.
So today I'm going to interview a local musician, singer-songwriter, and personal friend of mine named Trevor James. He has a song called Don't Let It All Go By, among many others, and today he's going to play it for us, as well as tell us what's behind it.
Hello, thanks for sitting me down having this interview. I'm excited to play.
All right, well, here's what I have for you. So a couple of questions, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. First of all, why do you make music?
Why do I make music? Why do beavers make dams? Music. I'm sorry, but music came to me. Probably at the age of 16, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Just hit me like a Mack truck, and there was no going back. I mean, it was just really weird. It was kind of the mainstream rap scene I was listening to, and all the radio hits, Billboard, and then I started learning some different artists, learning of Angus and Julia Stone in Australia and Powderfinger, and they were on the radio, but they weren't. There's just something about they had this passion, and I wanted to emulate that, but in my own way. And there was a talent show, and I got forced into doing it by my teacher, Mr. Bill. Shout out to Mr. Bill. And soon after, I just kind of adopted it. We won the talent show, and next thing you know, it just kind of grew. I started writing simple little ballads and medleys and melodies, or medleys is fruit, but whatever. And it just kind of grew from there, and there's a lot of other artists pushing me to do it, and kind of found something in myself that wasn't there previously, and I just grabbed onto it and hope to God it would take me somewhere conducive to my own well-being.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And having that mentality, I think, is really what, I mean, you have a pretty good following here locally in Owasso, little town, but everyone knows you as the guy who is inspired by a certain someone and makes music and blues and...
Yep, that would be B.B. King. No, that's John Mayer.
That's actually my next question. What artists, so 3 or 4, what artists are you most inspired by?
This will surprise some people. I was thinking about it the other day. Obviously John Mayer, and that whole, I guess you could say, adult alternatives, early 2000s, Jason Mraz, Jack Johnson, all the J's. But there's a lot of, I don't know if it's even an influence, if not just an undertone or watermark, but there's other artists that really get to me, and that's Prince is one of them. Huge Prince fan. He's really hard to get into, but I've just started getting into him, and he's kind of been bleeding, seeping through into my music in certain points. And definitely, I would have to say probably, any blues artist. Any blues artist really kind of inspires me. I build everything I can around the basis of blues themes. Blues licks on the guitar are one thing, but there's themes of the blues, and I generally try to draw upon that. I'm really into most acoustic stuff. It can be indie to mainstream. I really was into, for a while, lyrically, Iron and Wine. Really, really great guy. And he got big with a song on Twilight. And the Twilight soundtrack's great. It's very melancholy, and that's where I draw a lot of my inspiration from, is from artists that are hurting. I mean, if there's a pain, and it strikes a chord, it kind of resonates with me as well, and that bleeds through to my music. My music's very, very sad, but I'm going on a tangent. But
Oh, no, it's fine. That's what we're here for.
yeah.
Well, my next question is, where do you want to go with your music? Say, give me where you want to go in the next year and where you want to be in 5 years.
Where I want to go in the next year, that's complicated because, I have this new job. I started a new job, and a lot of things have been put into movement lately, so that's going to maybe compromise my musical endeavors. But if it doesn't and I go ahead as planned, I'd honestly like to be playing gigs. I mean, it doesn't matter how big or small. I'd like to have regular gigs every, week, pretty much. Could be the same spots, could be any. I mean, I will travel anywhere. But I just to get any exposure is a gift in my eyes from fans. I don't really have fans yet, but I definitely have a couple followers, I suppose, and it'd be a treat for them to come out and see because they don't get to see a lot of that. They hear some of my recordings, they hear me, pick and croon over some acoustic guitar, but they don't actually get to see me in a show environment, and I don't get to see that. So I'd like to be playing gigs in the next year, maybe playing a couple songs, recording them. In the next 5 years, that's a hard one because it's such an up and down roller coaster. Life is, anyways. There's no saying where I'll be, but hopefully it's somewhere good and somewhere I'm happy. I'm not somewhere I'm not compromising. Somewhere where I know what I'm doing, I know what I want, and I'm on my way to getting it.
Awesome. And one thing is for sure, you know how to put on a live show. I've seen at least 3 at this point, and I definitely know that you know how to put on a live show, and it's the energy is there, the atmosphere is there. It's great. I absolutely adore watching it. It's
well,
awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That's kind of a mode that some artists will be able to tell you about. And I know I can definitely attest to it. When you get up on stage, it doesn't matter how nervous you are. It doesn't matter if you don't even have a talent. Something has to happen up there, and if that's your only barrier is your action up on that stage between the audience and yourself, then you're gonna pull it out. And that's what happened. I mean, like I said, my teacher kind of dragged me up on stage one day and said, "I think you can sing." I'm like, "I think you're nuts. I never sang a note in my life." And I got up on stage, and I've never been so nervous. I thought I was going to pass out. And all of a sudden, I just belted out a song, cracking jokes beforehand, had the whole audience laughing, and belted out a song. And I got a huge applause, and it was worse than heroin. I mean, ever since then, I was just hooked. So but the energy's got to be there. There's got to be a communication. I like there to be that link. There's some of those artists nowadays, which not all of them, I won't generalize, but some artists are very cold. They don't interact with their audience. They don't feel it. And they're missing out. I mean, it's not really the audience. Yes, they're missing out, but the artist they're losing something by not having that connection there.
All right. Yeah, that's very deep.
Yeah,
it's really deep. Yeah. Okay, where can these listeners find you?
You can find me on, very rarely YouTube. I'll post something, just little snippets, but my main source of exposure, I suppose, would be I post a lot of videos to Facebook, just audio. That's it, unless I have a gig. You can find me on BandCamp. Just search Trevor James Blues. You can find me on Soundcloud, Trevor Loux, Loux. I should be first one up on that list. And then I think that's it. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I have a Twitter, @TheTrev. I tweet frequently, and if you're easily offended, stay away. Instagram, Trevor Loux, one word, TREVOR LOUX. I think that's about it. That's all so I'm very wired.
All right. One last question, then we'll get to the music. What is the message or theme of Don't Let It All Go By?
That's it. It occurred to me that Don't Let It All Go By is more than just some little poppy ballad, a tacky little song. There's a lot of depth to it. I would have to say some people could take it as a warning to not, don't let it all go by. Don't forget to take the chances. Don't forget to, live your life and don't worry about the repercussions as much. I mean, but for me, it's not really a warning. It's more of, I wish, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm looking back and I'm like, if I can help someone do that, fine. But I'm letting you know, I should have, done this, or I could have done that, or I would have. And it's a very nostalgic, sad song, actually. It's actually very sad. I mean, but there's just that little glimmer of hope in there. It's like, but, I've messed up. I've, tore some things apart and tried to put them back together and failed. But don't you go do that. And that's the beautiful part about it, is it's expressing me, but it's also kind of, you can relate to it yourself. And that's really what it's about. It's just a nice little cute song.
Well, yeah, that's what music's all about. And
Yeah.
That's what's so great. I listen to the song all the time, and I can definitely relate to it and find my own meaning in it. And that's what's special about music. That's what makes it such a great art form. And without further ado, let's hear it. Don't let it all go by.
Don't let it all go by. I've seen the sunset from both sides of the water. I've seen the love one man shares with his daughter. I fell asleep to a whiskey lullaby. I've watched a mother smile at a newborn child. Let's take it slow. Take it slow, don't let it all go by. Let's take it slow. Take it slow, don't let it all go by. Don't go look for something you won't ever find. Learn to live for yourself and never fall in line. Mirrors are a losing game, no matter what they say. You know they only show you backwards anyway. Let's take it in. Let's pretend, didn't let it all go by. Let's take it in. Let's pretend, didn't let it all go by. Savor every moment. By the time it's here, you know it's halfway gone. When it's finally over, winter's here, it's getting late. You'll look back and you'll say, I should have stopped that girl before she turned to me. I would have walked through that door that opened up to me. I would have seen the world, not let it pass me by. And tried to look at life with the brightest set of eyes. I should have known, not to let it all go by. I should have known, not to let it all go by.